All right, good afternoon. Welcome to Are You LinkedIn or Left Out, the world's largest social networking platform. My name is Shannon Nedzwicki. I'm the Assistant Director of Internships and Employment Development for University Career Services. And today I'm really going to take you on just a journey of how to ensure that your LinkedIn profile is up to date, current, and really just utilizing all that LinkedIn has to offer, because there is so much, even through the research for this presentation, that I learned a lot about LinkedIn as well too. And right now, the time is where we are all in our houses, and it's really good to make sure that we're still networking remotely as well. So here's just a couple fun facts. 80% of jobs are found through networking. And that goes true for LinkedIn as well too. So you have the ability. What I love about LinkedIn is I network with people around Toledo, but then all people around the country and around the world as well too. So it's a really big platform for you to network. 20,000 companies use LinkedIn to recruit employees. So I work with a lot of recruiters on my job. My main focus in career services is employer relations. So I'm working with recruiters a lot, and I spend a lot of time every day on LinkedIn talking to recruiters. So 20,000 companies use LinkedIn to recruit their employees. 70% of people were hired at a company where they had connections. So we always say it's all about who you know. That still holds true. So we really want to make sure that all students are connecting with employers virtually or face to face. And then this is a good one for you guys to think about. 70% of jobs are not even listed. So someone might contact you a job and they haven't posted it. So it's really good to put yourself out there as much as you can. So here's just some key tips. I have two slides of key tips when it comes to LinkedIn. Um, Try to look for jobs on LinkedIn. And again, I'm gonna go into the LinkedIn profile and show you how to look for jobs. But use your connections and you can search for jobs there too. We're going to go on the University of Toledo's website or site on LinkedIn, and you can see how many alumni they have, where they're working. You can connect with them. So it's really important to use it as a job board, but also building your brand. Right now, there's a lot of education out there, and just emphasis on building your online brand when it comes to everything surrounded with the COVID-19 and staying at home. So make sure that you're building your brand to be who you want to be, and thinking about your ultimate goals. You know, whether this is your first year or your fourth year or fifth year, or you're a senior getting ready to graduate. Think about what your brand is. Think about what your goals are, and use LinkedIn to try to work with everybody that you think that would help you obtain those goals. And then also a lot of industry news. I'm going to be honest. This is where I find all my industry news. I usually go on LinkedIn before bed, and then I get up in the morning and I'm looking at all my industry news, all the inside higher ed, all of the career services news. And that's true for any news when it comes to your professional development. I was talking to the vice president of human resources at Cedar Point, and she said as well too, like she finds everything that she needs on LinkedIn along with her industry. So but also research companies and their employees as well too. So we're going to go on and we're going to search some companies. I'm going to show you how to look for employees that work there. Again, it's great to network. When quick story, when I first got hired at University of Toledo, what I did is I went in and I tried to connect with everybody I possibly could that had University of Toledo in their name. I searched for University of Toledo and faculty and staff and VPs and foundation, and I just said, hey, I'm coming to campus. I would love to do lunch. I would love to network. And it helped me build a network coming into a new job. So that's a good tip that I have as well. See if we have any chats yet. Your profile is really important, because the more and more that you share things and the more that you connect with people, the people will view your profile. So the biggest tip, if you take away today, is make sure that you doesn't necessarily have to be professional, but you do want a professional looking headshot. My headshot that I have in mind is actually a colleague of mine. I took it outside of one of the buildings at the university. It's not done by a professional photographer. It was done on my iPhone, but just make sure that you have a professional headshot. You don't want a picture of your family. Make sure that you're professionally dressed, because it is all about professionalism. And make sure you update. This is something that I need to update my update game, because I was just looking at mine and I haven't updated some of the things that I need to, but it's really close to your resume. As we say, like always update your resume once a semester. You're going to always update your LinkedIn profile once a semester and make sure that you're up to date and everything that's going on with LinkedIn. But use key industry words. Again, look at your resume, and if you met with one of our career consultants, you'll have some of those key words that you need to put on your resume. Use those on your LinkedIn profile as well too, because recruiters will use key words and terms to make sure that you're utilizing that. And then customize your URL. I'll teach you how to do this when we get into the LinkedIn profile as well too, but it just makes it easier. So if people know my name, like it's like linkedin.edu/Shannon Niedzwiecki. So you can customize your own URL to what you want. And then also you want to create a knockout summary. The summary is really close to what a cover letter would be, but I always say it has a little bit more personality, a little bit more jazz. The cover letter has more jazz than the resume, but then your LinkedIn profile has some more jazz. So I'm going to show you a couple samples on this next slide. Here's some more tips. Put in time. You're just like your resume. You're not going to go into one appointment and your resume be perfect. Either is your LinkedIn profile. So it gets better over time. One of my biggest tips too is to engage. So comment on things, like things, share things. One of the things that is kind of a learning curve for LinkedIn is everybody in your network can really see everything that you're doing. So if you like something, everybody can see that. If you share it, everybody can see it. If you post on someone's post, everybody can see that as well too. But it kind of helps you with your newsfeed and puts you in that first and second and third person. So the more that you engage, the more that you'll come to the top of the news feeds when people are searching for anybody in your industry or for your name. Always have a good photo. Post, stay active, use it like a resume, kind of like what I talked about. I actually used to have my resume on my LinkedIn, a PDF of my resume. I took it off because I need to update it, but I plan on putting that back in. So when people view my profile, my resume will be on there. And then also messaging. I use it like email almost. So I email a lot of people that or recruiters and employers that I work with on campus, but I also message people daily, just checking in. Like I messaged 3 of my contacts today that I work with in Toledo to say, hey, I'm checking in. How are you doing? Are you staying safe? It just keep messaging and keep using LinkedIn as a way to communicate with your network.
Shannon, this is Laura Jane here.
Yes.
I have a question from Instagram Live of what are some examples of keywords that students and just professionals in general can be using?
Well, really that comes down to the industry. And so like if you're in healthcare, I mean, you would use all the healthcare industry, but you would use words like some of our competencies, like critical thinking. You can use, like, if you have skills, which we're going to get into the skills and talk about that. If you have certain skills like Adobe or iMovie, Microsoft, you can put those keywords into your summary, because if anybody's searching for those things, then you would that they would come up. But sometimes that's specific to your industry as well too. So if you do, I don't even know what it, but if it's like a healthcare and you do like blood pressure checks or have certain equipment that you use keywords like that in your summary, just like we would tell you in your cover letter and your resume as well too. Here's some. Thank you, Laura. Keep them coming. This is an example of a summary. So the summary on your LinkedIn, you want to put some detail on there because people will read it and it kind of gives a little bit of spark to your personality. So, the first line here in Bruce's is I find great people and find them great careers. This all starts with a conversation. So you can see that their personality is coming out. Data driven is really another keyword. Insightful recruiter who is passionate about growing teams and dreams. So really just put that emphasis on what you're passionate about, what your goals are, and what you can bring to the table. Again, it really kind of acts almost like a cover letter, but with this a little bit more personality in there. Here's another example. So she gets right into it. Being a C-level executive assistant is exactly what you think it's like. I'm the colleague at work that everybody wants to know, but nobody wants to be. So that's kind of giving her a little bit of personality and talking about who she is, what she does, and she's staying organized. She makes everyone's life easier. When I'm at work or in denial about having a social life, I'm at home mothering. So I do get a lot of questions about your personal life. LinkedIn really isn't a place to share a lot of personal things. It's more professionally, but as I say with cover letters and resumes too, I always put on there, I'm a mom of 2 girls, because that is me professionally, and it's me personally as well too. So I wanted to put this one in because this was one of the top ranked summaries, and I do get a lot of questions about personal information. Here's another one. This one is a little bit different format. Like, it has the bullet points in there, so I can successfully create, scale, and optimize software product portfolios. It's really important to use numbers in there. So if you have numbers when it comes to money, or if you have numbers when it comes to, if you're doing clinicals and you have a rotation and you oversee 100 beds per shift, put all those numbers in there because those will help you as well. Here's another one, a product marketing and growth at SurveyMonkey. So the human brain is a crazy place, and there are no 2 things that fascinate me more about product and the growth marketing. So you can see that sometimes your summary, it's okay to be lengthy about it. Talk about yourself, talk about what you bring to the table, talk about your experiences. Be engaged. This is really, really important. I've been known on my other social media networks, especially Twitter, to just scroll through when I need it and not actually post or share or do anything else. But I don't do that on LinkedIn, and I would really advise you not to do that. It's not a one-way street. You have to give and take. If you ask for recommendations from people, like, you want to give them back. If you ask for skill endorsements, you want to give that back. So use LinkedIn to help yourself, but also to help other people as well too. And building your network is really important. I had a question last couple months ago about, should I just try to connect with everybody? You kind of want to be strategic about who your network is. And sometimes, like, I have my network, I've been working on my network for a couple years now, but I forget that there's other networks out there. So when I was talking to Joanne from Cedar Point, she was talking about all of the things that were coming around in her network when it came to human resources and what's going on right now with COVID-19. And sometimes I forget that other people have their networks as well too. And we're going to talk about how to communicate with your network and how to ask for recommendations and contact cold connections is what we call them in LinkedIn world. But search for content is on there as well. Like, I'm always searching for content around career services, interviewing tips, anything social work. I mean, any industry that you have. And again, we're going to go on LinkedIn and I'm going to show you a little bit how to do that. Join groups. I have quite a few groups. I probably actually need to go through my groups, but join as many groups as you can, because this is the way that you meet people as well, but you also learn from those groups that are in there. And then also ask for recommendations and mentorships. I have somebody that I have connected with from Complete College America that I asked to be a mentor to me. Never met them in person. And it's okay to ask for mentorships and follow people, and also ask for recommendations on your LinkedIn as well. If I have any chat. So here's just an example of some of the groups. And again, we're gonna go into the LinkedIn profile once we get through this presentation, and I'm gonna show you some of the key things. But you can create a new group. You can look and see what groups that you've requested, and then you can also see your groups as well too. Here's an example of when we get into the profile, I will show you. LinkedIn just came out with this new take a skill quiz. So you can take some quiz on some different skills. I don't have all of them up here, but Adobe, Illustrator, Lightroom, Photoshop, and those skills will be added to your profile once you go through the questions, and you will be endorsed by LinkedIn. And then others can endorse you as well too when it comes to all of your skills. Recommendations, I feel, are really important. I have one recommendation here, and I when I was starting this presentation, I thought, well, you know, I have a recommendation from Pam. I used to work with her when I worked at Ivy Tech Community College. I should really start thinking about some more recommendations. So I reached out to some of my network and just said, hey, I'm really looking for a recommendation. Would you mind writing a recommendation for me? It's really just like a recommendation letter that you would ask any mentor or faculty or previous supervisor that you've been working with. So who should you connect with? People we know versus new connections. So sometimes people in LinkedIn or higher ed will call them warm connections or cold connections. I think you connect with both. And sometimes your warm connections can lead to cold connections. Because what will happen is if you find somebody through searching that you would like to connect with, when you look on their profile, it will show you anybody in your connections that are already friends with them. So sometimes if you don't feel comfortable, maybe messaging the CEO of Owens Corning or another industry or another company, you can contact who you know works there and say, hey, I would really like to meet this person. Would you mind connecting us? So I would really recommend connecting with people you know. One of the things that came up in the women's business panel that we did, I think it was last week, they were talking about one of the biggest tips that they have is every time you get a business card from somebody, go on LinkedIn right away. And that's a really good way to then connect with them, but also send them a message and say, hey, doctor, or hey, Mr. or Mrs. I just met you at the job fair. We just met, you know, at the speed networking. I would really love to connect. And even from the women's business panel, some of the panelists had a couple of students and other staff members that connected with them right away from that. So anytime you're meeting with somebody, go on LinkedIn and try to connect with them. University of Toledo alumni, if you go into the University of Toledo's main page and view their page, it will tell you how many alumni are on LinkedIn, where they're working, who they are. Alumni are always, even though all the alumni I've met are willing to work with Toledo students, contact them, ask them for tips, and start networking. But again, it also comes back to what your goals are. You know, what do you want to learn? Where are you going? Are you searching for internships? Are you searching for full-time jobs? And then also make sure that you send a message too. That's really, really important. Even if it's, hey, I'm really just looking to connect with others in my industry. You always want to send a message to someone that you do not know. One of the cold connections. So here's an example. Again, we're going to go into LinkedIn, but I thought like I just searched digital communications. And here's an example of some of the professionals that came up. But you can also search people. If you want to search jobs, all the jobs that had digital communications would come up. Any content, if you're looking for research, if you're looking for new articles that are talking about digital communications and best practices, it'll show you all the content. You can search by your connections. You can search by location. And you can search by current company as well too. So when I searched human resources, Jessica came up and I was actually able to connect with her today. So she's a human resources generalist. She's also a University of Toledo alumni, and she's also in this group as well too. So you can see what groups, and you can even click on that group and then be part of that group as well too. So then when you click connect, another box will come up and you're going to want to add a note here. And that's when you're going to put your personal note in there. All right. So here's just a short example of a message. Again, don't think too much into it. I know that it can be intimidating sometimes. But you can say, I'm a senior at the University of Toledo studying film, and I really enjoyed the content you've shared. The video you did for ProMedica was very detailed and thought-driven. I'd love to keep in touch and learn from your expertise. So then you can start a messaging conversation with that professional. But just keep it simple, but you definitely want to write some message to them. Share, like, and follow, and that's really, really important to make sure that you're engaging as well too. So remember what I kind of said earlier is that anything that you share, anything that you post on, you like, you join, all of your network can see as well too. And actually, I really like that about LinkedIn because I can see, I have a lot of people that I've been working with and I've worked with in the past that like things, and then I can follow that as well too. So it's just a way for you to get more information on what you can follow, what the latest trends are, jobs that are available. When I have people in my network that share like a job, I share it as well too, and I might not even have them in my network. So I'm going to show you some of those tips. One thing that LinkedIn is kind of new is the QR code. So if you're, and I wish you guys could see me better, but if you have the LinkedIn app on your phone and you just go to the top search, there is your QR code. So you can just someone, like if I'm in the office or if I'm in a job fair and I want to connect with somebody, I can just connect with them. And I encourage everybody on this call to connect with me as well too. I love connecting with students and faculty and staff on LinkedIn. I share a lot of jobs on LinkedIn and content as well too. So I just shared some Amazon jobs that are in Ohio coming up here as well too. So I'm going to get out of here. I don't know if there's any questions while we wait. I'm going to show you guys some things on the LinkedIn. All right, so this is what it looks like when I first go into LinkedIn. It's kind of like Facebook or other social media where you have a news feed. But then in my profile, if I go to click on my profile, see, this is what I was talking about. I kind of need to step my summary game up a little bit, but it talks about my title. It talks about where I am. You don't necessarily have to put your location. I do because sometimes recruiters will be searching for a certain location. You can just put Toledo, even if it's in the Toledo region. You don't necessarily have to put exactly where you're in. Get started on the job search. This is for people that are looking for jobs. Not everybody on LinkedIn, even if they're looking for jobs, necessarily want to put out there that they're looking for jobs, but you definitely can too. So you can talk about here, tell us what kind of work you're open to. You can add titles, you can put locations, you could put what types of jobs if you're looking for internships. You can kind of make it all LinkedIn members or only recruiters. But what that will do is it'll put a little green dot by you to signal to recruiters that you're open and looking for jobs. So if you do that, you definitely want to make sure that the people that you're working for now know that you're looking for jobs, because it'll be out there for everybody to know as well.
Hey, Shannon, I have another question from Instagram Live. Is it better to put a generic headline, or is it better to have one of the custom ones?
You mean about, and well, for the about section, it's good to have a custom one. I think that's what you're talking. Are you talking about for the about section, or are you talking about where it says assistant director?
Let me see.
So while we're waiting for that,
Mhm.
I will go into some of the other.
The assistant director title.
Yeah, it's good to have a custom headline, but I have seen it before. Like if you are, maybe graduating and looking for internships and looking for jobs, to put that, you can put that in your headline as well too, and that might get more feedback from recruiters because it'll be out there. But it's good to be custom. I've seen people put it. They don't necessarily have to put their job titles. I've seen like energetic, passionate higher education professional, or people person but I would definitely try to be custom as much as you can. Anything that will draw people to your profile.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you can see how many people viewed my profile. You can see all of my activity. And again, you'll see this when you go onto other people's profile as well too. All of the things that I've shared. So if I go into my activity, I was just talking about the Amazon jobs. Here are some of the things that I have liked in the last couple days. Usually I try to like or share something once a day. Articles that I've written, if you have a blog or you want to just write some things, LinkedIn is a great way to publish just articles. I wrote about being a doctoral student, do you have a mentor? And again, anybody can see my articles post, and then if you have documents on there. So if you've done any type of marketing, if you have videos, this is your portfolio. So anything that you want to put in there, you can put in your documents. Down here, I have to do a little better about updating my experience, but kind of just like your resume, you're going to want to put your experience on there. And our career consultants are available to help you with your resume and also some of the things that you can put in your LinkedIn as well too. Excuse me. Your education is down here. Here's what I was talking about, the skills and endorsements. So you can take the skills quiz here and put some more endorsements. You can, here's your recommendations right down here. So Sarah Best. And then you can ask for recommendations. Here's where you would ask for a recommendation. I think he's still on the, like I can ask Bo, he's our Dean of Libraries, or Davlon Miller, our other Assistant Director in Career Services. Just ask them for a recommendation. It would be just as if you were asking somebody for a recommendation in person, a recommendation letter. Definitely utilize your network. So if we look up the University of Toledo, you can really look up a lot of companies on here as well too. This is the institution's website. You can, I don't know if they have any jobs on here right now, but you can go and see the jobs. Alumni is really what I wanted to show you. So you can see where they live, where they're working. And then here, most of the alumni are going to be on here. So you can connect with alumni through LinkedIn as well too. And there's also an alumni association page. That's another good resource. So all your associations that you in your industry, so like we have the National Association of Colleges and Employers. If you look on here, this is where I look for a lot of networks as well too. So people, so here's some people that are connected with NACE and work at NACE as well too. So it's great to connect with others in your industry. And what you'll see from that is you'll gain networks, but they will also be sharing jobs. They'll also start sharing content. So you'll start to learn from each other. So let me just say, let's say human resources. So if I just search human resources, again, you can do this with nursing or social work, recreation therapy, sports management. You can search people up here. You can search jobs. You can do sort by, you can do date posted in the last 24 hours. LinkedIn features, easy apply, under 10 applicants. They really filter it out for you. You can do content. So I use this a lot when I'm searching for content on like interviewing or internships. Like I'll just search internships and search content. So here's a lot of ways to find industry specific news and things that are happening within that content. Let's see here, companies. So Human Resources Student Association, that sounds like a good one to follow. Other companies, Human Resources Online. Again, all of this is really good for just connecting and learning things. You can also go up here to your toolbar up here. This will take you back home. So again, you'll see your news feed. So new posts. This over here on the left-hand side is where you will see your groups. So here are the groups that I showed you earlier in their presentation. You can create a new group if we wanted to create a University Career Services University of Toledo group. We could do that, and you can start adding people to that group as well too. But once you click on somebody, like let me just click on Sarah because I was in here. So you have 22, I have 22 mutual connections with Sarah. She is the champion of people and performance and the certified talent optimizer. She works with the Toledo Regional Chamber of Commerce a lot and works with Integrate. So Sarah can introduce you to 10 people at the United Way of Greater Toledo. So once you start searching for people and viewing their profile, then you can start seeing some of the connections and connecting from there. And people that also viewed, you can see her activity, experience, and the recommendations as well too. So you can start to, if you go into like Michael's, random 13 mutual connections, and I don't know who Michael is, so I have 13 mutual connections with Michael, so it might be a good idea for me to connect with him, send him a message. But again, you can keep going on and on and on. So like I was saying in the presentation, sometimes it takes some time to build your network and build your portfolio. So it's really important to kind of just sit back and kind of take that time. Your messaging is up here, and then if you have notifications, they're up here. So you can see every time someone views your profile, you will see them unless they have the premium, and it'll be private then. But you know, I can still see if someone has a birthday on here, if someone started a new job, you can see that on here. You can just see some of the notifications that I have.
Shannon, I have another question from Instagram Live.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit more about how you can approach recruiters on LinkedIn when you haven't met them in person? So when you're connecting with new people that maybe you've never met, but you have either similar connections or you're interested in following them.
Okay. So let me see if I can look. Spell it. Recruiter and people. Okay. So I kind of did this when I was starting to build my relationships in the Toledo area, because I just moved here. Well, officially I just moved here in January, but I've been here since August working at the university. So I wanted to build a network with recruiters in the area. So I just typed in recruiter and kind of see who was in the area. So Mark would be one that I haven't connected with yet. So I can see that I have 9 mutual connections with Mark, and I see that he studied at the University of Toledo. It's really important to look at their profile before just connecting with everybody. So you can see what their experience is, their education, endorsements, interests. And then, you know what, we're just going to do it while we're here. Add a note. Whoops. Currently work at the university. We'll put in career services. So again, it's part of your goals, kind of puts it out there. And looking to connect with recruiters in the area. I could put, I also see you are Toledo alumni. Go Rockets. Again, you want to add that little touch in there. Looking forward to connect. and then you send the invitation. And again, it's kind of hands off, so I know that it can be intimidating to some, but it's much less intimidating than walking up to somebody and trying to network that way. So there's been times where I've seen that people haven't accepted my connection, and that's okay. But still put yourself out there and look at their profile and try to make it personal to what you know about them, the same interest you have. And even if it's somebody that you're trying to look up to, maybe it's not even a recruiter, but if my goal is to be a vice president of student affairs or something in higher ed, I can find that job and those individuals and email them and let them know, hey, I've been really looking to connect with other people in this role so I can learn from you. So kind of creating that mentorship as well too. So here are just after you send that was good that we went through that whole process, because after you send a note, it'll actually show other people that you may know. Okay, so I have 12 mutual connections with Daniel, Justin, associate professor of management. They might work at UToledo. So I get, again, Kelly Murphy, another UToledo alumni or student. So you can kind of go through here and just build your network that way. Building the network part isn't going to be hard. It's the making sure that you personalize every message that goes out to somebody and really being strategic in who you're connecting with. Let me see here. Brandon, I have 12 connections with Brandon. Whoops, I just connected with them on accident. So you can see you worked at Trine. I know some people that work at Trine. That's probably where we have connections with. But you can also look and see who your connections with them are. So LinkedIn is really fluid. Everybody can kind of see everything. It's a little bit different than maybe an Instagram or a Facebook, because some things are private. I mean, you can really see who's connecting with what jobs are posted. And then if you ever are in a position where you want to, I gotta move this a little bit. Here you can find LinkedIn Learning. Here you can post a job. You can advertise something. You can look for groups, join groups. If you wanted to do salary, you can discover salaries and jobs and search for jobs and look for salaries that way. Do some research. SlideShare, this is a great way to learn things. You can post your slides on here. Of course, if you wanted them to be connected to your profile, but you can also learn different things that are on here. Featured slideshow, be a great product leader. So there's tons of ways to learn on LinkedIn as well too. So here's another find a job, remote editor jobs. Again, and you can customize them. You can put a job alert on, you can customize them by your location. There's a lot of different things you can do on LinkedIn. I am happy to meet with anybody individually, and I know our career consultants and Davlin, our other assistant director, I'm not sure if he's still on here or not, but are available to meet about LinkedIn and to help everybody kind of customize your LinkedIn and make sure that you're utilizing it. I know I'm a little bit over time, but does anybody have any other questions?
Waiting on questions, Shannon. This is Davlin, by the way. It's always a good way to start if you're starting your profile for the first time is to work on your resume originally, because it has a lot of information that will help you build your LinkedIn profile. So Shannon has mentioned several different times, career consultants, myself, Shannon, several different people in the office is available, or they're available for you to schedule appointments and send emails and so on and so forth. You can find all of our information on the Career Services webpage. We can take it from there.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, I see I already got a couple new ads, but message me on LinkedIn or use Handshake to schedule appointments with myself. And as Davlin said, any of the career consultants, we're happy to talk about LinkedIn, but use this time, especially when we're all virtual and remote, to really connect online as well as trying to build your resume and LinkedIn profile. Thank you for attending.